Hey everyone! Even if you have a wonderful, wonderful investment property, the greatest risk is the tenant. You have to make sure the tenant is who they say they are, that they're the great person that they say they are, and that they're able to afford your rental property. So I have here today Mackenzie Wilson from SingleKey, who is an expert in this area. He's a landlord himself, and again, he works for SingleKey, which is the #1 ranked tenant screening service in Canada. Mackenzie,
Yeah.
today we're going to walk through a credit check report. Is that the right term
Yeah.
for it?
Yeah. It has a few different names. Credit report, credit score report, background check. It's all kind of interchangeable, but what makes us kind of different in the marketplace, just kind of add on to that pitch there. Here's my one quick pitch for the video is we have the most comprehensive report. The typical credit score portion of a report for the average individual with say 5 or 10 years of credit, or even a few years, is you're gonna get 4 or 5 pages of credit history. So we're going to show you not only all the products they've ever opened up, credit cards, lines of credit, all that good stuff. You'll see all the payment history, if there's open trade lines, if they're in default, all these critical things to see if they're a good stewardship of their personal finances.
Yeah, so you go ahead and share what we're
Yeah.
looking at in terms of a sample credit report. So again, folks, to me, you are negligent if you do not conduct a tenant background report on your tenant. You're just asking for trouble.
Well, and
That's where we're talking about how to read one now.
absolutely, Erwin. And just to put it another way, is you're going to give probably one of the most expensive assets you personally own, a six-figure home or rental property, to a complete stranger. How do you ensure that they're going to look after it and they are financially able to pay the monthly rent and consistently and do the entire duration of the term of your lease, right? So basically, we're arming you with the same information that a bank would or a car dealership would have before they make a loan on one of their assets or sell you a car. And so why not? It just kind of makes a lot of sense when you put it that way. So here's the application. At the quick top part here, we have a bunch of kind of quick indicators. So we have a kind of a SingleKey score that's based on the results of it. These things are all great, but the ultimate responsibility is you're the one that's got to do your own due diligence. You need to fact check all the different pieces of information in this document to make sure that it's true, it's accurate, and all that good stuff. So the next section down is called the applicant's information. This is all self-inputted. This is what the tenants typed in to give you the information. So this may be true, most likely should be true, or it might not be true, depending if you are getting someone who's honest. And then so your job is to validate this information on here. So going down to the next section is the employment information. Again, this is all self-provided from the applicant or the tenant, the prospective tenant. This is where they're currently living. Again, all this is all application. This is all generated by the tenant. Blah, 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 blah. And then there's a quick little survey about, do you own your own vehicle? Do you have a pet? Do you smoke? Have you been convicted of a felony? And have you ever
Check.
declared bankruptcy? Right? So the next step here is our social media check. This is pretty comprehensive. Again, there's no guarantees with this stuff in the sense that across our country and across all the different jurisdictions, not all databases are online that are searchable. If you get a hit, it's certainly worth investigating. But if nothing comes back, it doesn't mean that's a guarantee that there's not a record out there that we didn't find. So it's a nice to have kind of feature. I really enjoy having it, but it's not the holy grail of everything that's possible out there. So I'll be clear on that.
Yeah.
So this
Pro
person's
tip,
got
I will personally search their Facebook profile to see what information I can find on them. I will creep them. Instagram, TikTok, I don't care. I will creep them.
yeah, and that's my point, Aaron, is we're giving you all these different data sets. Now, how do you verify that? So I'd say the biggest takeaway right off the top here is now we're into the credit score. So all this information comes from Equifax. So this information, like previous addresses, which is, did I skip that part? Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
you have
that's right
previous
here.
addresses. Yeah.
Yeah. So this information gets generated to Equifax. So if Erwin, you gone to in college, you got a cell phone from Rogers and you had a billing address, that's this address that shows up. So it may not always match the tenant's rental history and where they tell you they used to live. But if you do get cross checks, that are positive match, that's a really good sign that the tenant's telling you the truth. And what I'm trying to say again in another way is this is Equifax's previous addresses based on billing addresses. This address is up here is what the tenant told you they've lived. So if this information matches, this is what you have to do is take this information and go down, look in the bottom. And if you get matches, awesome. The tenant's telling the truth and Equifax is telling you the same thing that the tenant's telling you. That's good. That's good. Now, if you don't get a match, not necessarily the end of the world, but as you check all these different data points, the more times you can confirm pieces of information with a source of truth, the more confident you can be that the information being presented is in fact true. So we can go through here. This is our social media check. So we just provide you possible hits. Again, as you said, Irwin, you check it yourself. Make sure it is a match and go through that stuff. This is the criminal record scan. I don't see a lot of hits here often, but maybe it's because of how I screen before I get to this stage. But if you definitely see something in here, it's definitely worth digging into and asking more questions. So here's the credit score portion. This part is important. So everyone goes, is a credit score important? Or they go, what's the minimum number I should be accepting? And I just want to say basically, the credit score is certainly nice. It's a quick litmus test on the surface to see where they're at. You got to remember, it's only a certain snapshot in time of where the credit score is at, and it's not indicative of how they've managed their finances over the last 5 or 10 years or whatever it might be. So if it's blowing up like this, it's under 500, not the best credit score, but there might be a reason why. Could be, divorce, job loss, whatever it might be.
Or being in jail.
or being in jail. So your job is to say, okay, why is their credit score like this? Is there a legitimate reason that backs it up? And when you look at the payment history, that will be a really good indicator to kind of tell you if it's bad habits or if it was, something outside their control. So, because what you can get is a low credit score, but someone going through a job loss or divorce that has really good financial habits, they'll make a great tenant. And you want those people and you want to help them out if you can. So, okay, again, here is previous addresses listed. Now we go through here. This is a summary page. And what's important here is to understand how much interest they're paying per month on the debt or money that they owe, right? Because, of course, if they say they make, let's say for easy numbers, $3,000 a month, your rent is $1,000 a month. So your debt, your rent to income ratio is 30%. That's great. Kind of the de facto standards around 30 or 35%. Being below that is ideal. You're in a really strong position that they can pay the rent on time. But if they're servicing a bunch of debt and their interest payments per month are like, I don't know, $500 or $1,000 on top of them trying to pay rent, that's going to change their ability to pay rent. And you want to be kind of cognizant of that. So that's one thing to look at is that. And then the next thing here are these late payment buckets. And this is where is really important. And then we got to get your detective skills out. If you see a checkerboard rent payments across the board consistently going back the last 2 years, that's probably someone that doesn't manage their finances very well. They have late payments are across the board. That's probably a big red flag. I'd say definitely move on. They're probably not the person you want to rent to. But if
Mackenzie,
you've got,
is that they're to read the late payments, they've been late twice on 30 days. They've been late 60 days once, and then 6 times 90 days.
Yeah. So let's say they didn't pay a credit bill, a credit card bill. It was late. It was paid within the first 30 days of being late. Then that would check in 2. They've done that twice. They've let one bill go past 30 into the 60-day bucket, and then they've let 6 go by for 60 days into the 90-day plus bucket. So that's not good. But yeah, that's how you would interpret it for sure. Now, these are summaries. There's a couple more summaries too. So student loans, mortgages. Seeing a high utilization of mortgages is actually not a bad thing. Because again, think about the mortgage is backed by the collateral of the property. And most of us, when we first get into real estate, it's a long time to pay down a mortgage. It's usually going to be a high loan to value ratio. So that's actually not a bad thing to see a lot of the percent of the credit used. But if you're going back to say revolving credits, these are credit cards, and it's at 98%, and they have 6 credit cards. Ooh, not good. So that's like 20% interest if they're trying to pay on all that, and they're not getting ahead. So then here's the trade line balances, and this is really cool because now you can actually see all the different things they have. So car loan, credit card with Costco, TV mortgage, a cell phone or internet, and kind of tells you the status. So, paid as agreed and up to date, past due, not good. So you kind of get a really good little summary in here. And you can see how far back it goes, 2014, 2017. Like I said, all this information, like you don't really get with other credit checking services, which I think is super cool. What else can I show you? So just some more stuff. So here's the inquiries. This is pretty important too. If you see someone who only has a few inquiries, and if you look at their history, they only have a few inquiries over the last couple of months, and then there's nothing after that. They're not shopping around for credit. They're not trying to get additional credit cards or car loans. That's a good sign because they're not seen as credit hungry. If you see credit inquiries going consistently for a long period of time over numerous months or years, then why are they always shopping around trying to get credit and they're not getting approved? That could be an indicator that something more is going on. What else? So bankruptcies, that's pretty straightforward. Collections, cash money. So it's like what is that? Like
payday loan?
Payday loans. Yeah, exactly. So, and again, as you're going through this stuff, you want to ask questions and dig into it further. If you see something, they should have a reasonable explanation of why this is what it is.
And hopefully this isn't the best tenant report that you're receiving.
No, this is an example of what's going wrong and what not to accept. A very cool thing too is we collect pay stubs. So the tenant can upload a copy of their pay stub. You can go through it and take a look at it and make sure it kind of aligns with this company should show up on the Equifax credits portion up here. So again, you're cross-referencing data points to make sure they're true. And we also, you can also make them load up a photo of their photo ID, which is great, and pet information too. So I like it. It's
very
clean.
Comprehensive.
Yeah, you collect a lot of information. We're the only people right now that do this with the photo ID and the pet information. So yeah, and you have an option too. And what I like about this is, let's say, you know what, things are not good. You're not getting a lot of applications. You can turn off these fields to increase more completed applications, to collect more applications and have more people to make a decision on. Because if you get, again, like I said, let's say it's Alberta, there's a oil crash. I'm only getting like 3 applications. I might turn off some of these so it encourages people to fill up the application. But if I'm in Irwin, crushing it in Hamilton, I've got 50 applications or 40 or whatever the number is. I'm going to make all these fields mandatory so I get more information to make a more informed decision.
Love it. Loved how you framed it.
Yeah. So
Mackenzie, thank you very much for sharing. And folks, Mackenzie's kind enough to be offering our viewers a 20% off referral link. So that'll be in the description below. Again, that's 20% off a tenant credit report, and that's from SingleKey. So thank you, Mackenzie, for doing this. Thank you for the discount, and keep spreading the good word out there. We need more good landlords to be good to tenants. So the more good tenants we have, the more landlords can stay in the game, and more housing can be available for good tenants.
Absolutely. I love that, everyone. You're very welcome.
Thank you for watching. If you want to learn how to invest in real estate from scratch, my team teaches beginners how to use the #1 investment strategy that I personally use in a virtual free training class every month. Go to investortraining.ca/YouTube to register for our next class. The link is also in the description as well. I publish at least 2 to 3 videos a week here, so subscribe if you want to keep learning from seasoned investors like myself and my guests. And if you're just starting out, feel free to ask questions and comment below, and I do the best to answer each of those comments and questions myself. Again, if you're ready to learn the nitty-gritty about real estate investing from a professional investor, register for our next virtual class. That's at investortraining.ca/YouTube. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next video.